This is the start of Camp Crystal Lake. It is starting tonight with a 24-hour sprint with all the hosts. It is hosted by Barb from Barb Booklands and quite a few other booktubers, so I will link them all below. This vlog, this is October 1st. They're kicking it off with, like I said, 24-hour sprints, but you won't be seeing this until later in the month. When I complete all 5 prompts for my team, I am on Team Haddonfield, which is Crystal from Bond Book Reviews team. And I will be doing all 5 book prompts in this vlog, as well as the team book, which is My Best Friend's Exorcism. But that's not what I'm gonna start with. Crystal has been so kind and invited me on sprints tonight as part of the 24 hours on her channel. Each host, I think, is doing 4 hours. I think that's how that's working. I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna go along for the ride. And I do plan on sleeping at some point, but Crystal's sprints are from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. my time. Please send help. But I'm gonna be able to sleep in tomorrow, so that's okay. Basically, as soon as sprints are done, I'm gonna be going right to bed and sleeping in for quite a while tomorrow. That being said, I wanted to pick a book on my TBR that was gonna be pretty easy to be reading in the middle of the night. I didn't want anything super scary, and I wanted something that if my brain was tired, I'd still be able to kind of take it in. So I'm gonna be starting with City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is middle grade horror, so I'm excited to, I've never read a middle grade horror, and I'm excited to read it. I'm using this for face on the cover. That is the prompt that I'm using this for. So it shouldn't take me very long because it is middle grade. I should be able to knock this out pretty quickly. I will be on Crystal sprints for 4 hours, and I'm gonna start these on Crystal sprints. I have a couple of things to finish up from my September TBR on Barb sprints, because Barb sprints are still in September for me. Crystals are at 12 a.m. October 1st. So I will start this at 12 a.m. on October 1st for me. And that's what I'm gonna do. So this follows a girl called Cassidy Blake, and her life is full of ghosts. She almost drowned or did drown. There seems to be a little bit of ambiguity in the synopsis. And now she has the ability to basically pull back the veil on the land of spirits and can see ghosts. And I think her best friend is a ghost. Yep, her best friend is a ghost. So I'm excited to read this. I'm excited to try middle grade horror and see what that is about. And I've heard really good things about this series. So this is the first book in the series, obviously. And if I like it, I will definitely continue. But let's jump into this month-long reading vlog with my first book for Camp Crystal Lake. Hi everyone, it is now October 1st officially, and I was up till 4 a.m. this morning on Crystal's sprints for Camp Crystal Lake, and it's like 9 o'clock now, and I've had a shower, and I'm feeling awake. I've had some coffee, and we're just gonna keep going with this 24-hour Crystal Lake PJ party, and I finished my first book. So the first book that I was doing was City of Ghosts on Crystal sprints last night. I got most of this done. I had about 40 minutes left of reading this morning, which I've already done. So I have finished this. This was so cute. I loved Cassidy. I loved that she was kind of discovering what her basically abilities were throughout the book. She has had a near-death experience with drowning and was actually saved from drowning by her best friend, Jacob, who is a ghost. And now she's going on kind of like a tour with her parents of a lot of haunted locations. And she has the ability to kind of step back into the world of spirits And I just find this so interesting. She ends up meeting someone else who also has this ability and kind of just starts, like I said, discovering what this ability means for her. It was really cute. I really enjoyed this. So I am going to give it 4 stars. I don't have much to critique. It is just a middle grade, so it's pretty light and fluffy for a horror. It's not really scary, obviously, but I still really enjoyed it, and I definitely want to continue this series. It kind of left on a little bit of an ominous note about her friend Jacob, about how he can maybe gain power on the other side. So that is interesting, and I'm interested to see how that might influence the later books in this series. That's all I really have to say about this. I gave it 4 stars. This is the 3rd V.E. Schwab I have ever read. I read Addie LaRue in The Near Witch. I gave them both 3 stars, so I've given this one a 4, so it is my favorite V.E. Schwab so far. I definitely think her magical books are more my style, so I think I'm going to enjoy the Darker Shade of Magic series as well, but I just haven't had a chance to pick it up yet. I think I'm also going to enjoy Gallant a lot too. Again, just haven't picked it up. Hopefully soon. The next book that I'm reading for Camp Crystal Lake is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. I'm actually not starting this until Monday though, because this is the buddy read for Barb's coffee group, and we are all going to be starting it on sprints together on Monday morning. But I probably won't check in with you again until then, because I won't be reading anything for Camp Crystal Lake in between. So I just figured I'd let you know about this now, and then I'll see you on Monday when I actually start it. So I'm actually really excited about this. I'm going to use this for the 5-star prediction prompt. I've heard mixed things about this, so that's not why I'm putting it as a 5-star prediction, but I am, because I love isolated thrillers. I love an isolated setting. So for that, I'm gonna make this work for the 5-star prediction prompt. This follows Detective Allie Warner. She has gone to a sanitarium in the Swiss Alps. It's no longer a sanatorium. It's like an old sanatorium, and I think it's now like a hotel that you can stay at type situation, or like an Airbnb or something like that. Somehow you can stay there. It's not really explained in the synopsis. With her brother and his fiance. They get there for a vacation in the Swiss Alps. A storm comes, so they get cut off from everybody and everything. And then all of a sudden, her brother's fiance, Lore, goes missing. And Detective Ellen Warner has to figure out what is going on. So that's all I know about this, but I am very excited to dive in. If I like this, I will be continuing on to the retreat. Probably not right away, because I don't have a copy of it physically, and the wait list for it at my library is very long. But I am on the wait list for that. Like I said, the next time you will see me will be on Barb's sprints. I'll be in the comments for her book club sprints on Monday reading this, and I don't think it'll take very long. It's not a very big thriller, and I hope it's really fast-paced. I started the sanatorium on Monday. Like I said, it is now Tuesday morning, and I have finished this. I finished it last night on sprint, so I read it in one day. There is a story and lots of thoughts behind this, so I'll tell you about it. So this is a buddy read with Barb's Ko-fi group, and we were going to start it on sprints together and just see how we could do in 4 hours. During that time, we all fell in love with this book. The setting, the atmosphere, the serial killer element, everything about it. It jumps right in at the prologue, and we were all just in love with this book. I was using it as my 5-star prediction for Camp Crystal Lake Team Haddonfield, and I was like, this is great. It is going to be 5 stars. Like, this is amazing. Devouring the book. So Barb says, why don't we just all read it in one day? And I was like, sounds good, I'm loving it. So that's what I did. During this time, I was very confused why this has such low ratings on Goodreads, because I was like, I cannot be the only person who is sitting here, like all of us are loving it. What is going on? Why does this have such low ratings? The atmosphere is fantastic. I loved the writing style. Like I said, there was like a serial killer element, which I usually like in a thriller. It very much came across as like a Criminal Minds episode serial killer. Like it's got signatures, and it was just top tier. And up until my sprints last night, I was still going to give this 5 stars. I was like, I'm loving this. I messaged Neva and was like, I don't understand why people don't love this book. I'm going to have the unpopular opinion. And then I got to the last 80 pages. And it started to go downhill, but I was like, okay, that's okay. That's okay. The whole book is so great. I can overlook a few oddities. And then it just crashed and burned for me in the end. The ending was so, like, it just wasn't good. It wasn't written well. And the whole book is written so well that the fact that the ending was written poorly stood out in such stark contrast that it actually made me like very angry. Like I was like, what is going on? Why? It seemed to me, and I've talked to some other people in the book club since I finished this, and we seem to all be in agreement that there seemed to be not kind of taking every idea that could possibly end this book and threw them all in instead of kind of figuring out exactly what would be the best way to end it. And it just seemed confused and it didn't make sense. In my opinion, I still don't think it makes sense. I still think the ending doesn't make sense. Like logistically, I don't think it makes sense. Like let alone anything else. Like I don't think logistically it makes any sense. And also it was just very, like I said, it seemed very confused. It was like, oh, this is happening. Oh no, never mind. This is happening. Oh no, never mind. This is happening. And it, not in a twisty, exciting way, in a like, what is happening? I'm nothing, like what? Seemed like the book was having an identity crisis at the end. Like I don't know what happened, because I'm so sad, because the atmosphere in this book, top tier. The writing up until the end, top tier. So I definitely want to give Sarah Pierce another try, because I was almost going to 5-star this book. I'm going to give it a 3 stars because the ending was so disappointing for me. So I'm going to give this 3 stars, but it was almost a 5-star book, which is just crazy. I don't think I've ever had this happen to me with any other book before, that I've been loving it so far and had to score it so low in the end. Like I don't think this has ever happened. So I definitely will be giving Sarah Pierce another try. I don't think I'm going to be reading any of her books right now. Probably next year I might try to read another Sarah Pierce. I don't know what other books she has other than the sequel to The Sanatorium. Not sure if I'm going to be picking up the sequel necessarily. We'll see. I definitely want to give her another shot because I did really enjoy the book up until the end. Like I really enjoyed it up until the end. So I feel like maybe the next time I try, the ending will be more fleshed out. Like it just didn't reach the caliber of the rest of the book. The rest of the book is fantastic. Like, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what has occurred. I understand why it has such, like, a low rating on Goodreads. So, I understand it's the ending. However, I really liked the writing style. I really loved the atmosphere in this book. The atmosphere is top tier. Anyway, it's an odd book for me to be talking about because I'm gushing and also not liking. It's weird. I'm gonna put it down and put it down as an experience. If you were on my sprints last night, you could see me getting more frustrated and more frustrated just because the book was so good up until the end. And Crystal was on sprints, who had also had that exact same experience. She had read this book and was 5-starring it until about the time I also. So we were talking about it and just, anyway, I'm just gonna put it down. This was my 5-star prediction. And it was close to a 5-star until the end when it became a 3. I don't know what my next team book for Camp Crystal Lake is going to be. So once I decide that, I'll pop back in. to this vlog and let you know. This is a month-long vlog, so I'll come back shortly and let you know what my next team book is. But I think I'm going to work on a couple of my other readathons that I'm working on this month. There's so many readathons. I am going to try to make those books work for Camp Crystal Lake for the other team's prompts so I can steal some prompts. So I will come back to you when I'm ready to start the next book. Hi, I am about to start my next book for Camp Haddonfield's team prompts, and this is actually our team book, and it is My Best Friend's Exorcism. I'm going to be using this for the prompt supernatural or contains supernatural for Team Camp Haddonfield, but I'm also going to be obviously reading it as the group book. You can use the group book for prompts, so the only time we can double up is with the group book and a prompt. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I have never read a Grady Hendrix before, and I'm very excited to try one. They're all on my TBR because I've heard really good things about them, and also just the concepts interest me. This one is the new movie cover. I just got this recently, and I love the end pages in this because it looks like a yearbook and it's signed like yearbook pages, and I just think that's so neat. So I'm very excited to add this to my collection. I hauled it last month knowing that it was the group book for this readathon. So this follows two best friends in the 80s, Abby and Gretchen. They are best friends. I've heard there's a lot of 80s references in here. I was born in 1990, so just outside the 80s. So I think I'll probably understand a lot of the references. We'll see. If I don't, I'll figure it out. But I think it'll be okay. This, again, like I said, follows Abby and Gretchen. One night, Gretchen and Abby decide to go skinny dipping, and something happens to Gretchen while they are skinny dipping, and she starts to act very strange afterwards, and Abby thinks that there's something going on with Gretchen, and she starts to try to figure out what's going on. I'm assuming it has something to do with a demon, as there is an exorcism involved, clearly by the cover in the title. So that's all I know. I'm really excited to try this book though, because I think I'm going to like the writing style a lot from what I've heard from other people who've read Grady Hendrix. I may watch the movie after I'm done. We'll see. I'm not huge into scary movies, but I might give it a try because I've heard it's not that scary. Also, I've heard not great things about the movie, so I kind of want to watch it just so that I can see what's going on. Hi everyone. Last night, right before I went to bed, I finished My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. And I didn't even score it right away. I mulled it over for a few minutes because I wasn't really sure how I wanted to rate this. I was debating between 3 and 4 stars. And I think if I did half-star ratings, I would do a 3.5, but I don't typically do half-star ratings. So I went with a 3. I went with a 3 thinking, it probably is a little bit of on the higher end of a 3 for me, but still a 3. The reasons I liked this were the writing style was really easy to follow. Sometimes I find in the horror that I've been reading this month, that's not the case. So I enjoyed that. I also felt the story was easy to follow. I wasn't sitting there going, what is happening? Which again has happened in a lot of horror that I've been reading lately. I'm like, what is going on? So that was a plus. I did find that I understood the 80s references, but they didn't matter to me that much. I'm not a child of the 80s, so that may be one of the downsides of this for me personally. So that was a thing. And I also found that the last 70-ish pages of this book dragged for me personally. I know this is a well-loved book, so I know that I am in the minority on this one, and that's okay. I'm okay to be in the minority. It could just be that I am not a horror reader,
And I will be the first to admit that that could potentially be the problem. I found from the exorcism part, that went on for a long time. A long time. And I just, from about then on, I was like, wow, this is going on for a long time. And it just dragged for me for that last bit. And that's how I got to the 3-star rating. But like I said, I did really enjoy the writing style. And I do want to get more into horror, and I did enjoy the writing style of this. And a 3-star is not a bad read. And like I said, I did almost give it a 4. So I think I do want to try more of Grady Hendrix because I did like the writing style a lot. So in the comments, we're not at the end of this video, but if there's a Grady Hendrix that you think I would like, that I should try next, please let me know, because I do want to pick up more because I did enjoy the writing style so much. The next book that I'm going to read in this blog is another horror book. I've been reading a lot of horror this month, but that is okay. I'm still trying to decide whether horror is a genre that I actually like. Well, lately, all my horror books have been getting 3-star ratings, which isn't a bad rating. It's just not, I would prefer 4 and 5-star ratings. So maybe I'm picking up the wrong horror books, which is very possible that I'm picking up the ones that just don't vibe with me. Who knows? But we're going to give it another try with Lauren Oliver's Rooms. This I don't think is horror. I think this is more spoopy horror than horror scary. Richard Walker has just died and his family has come back to his house to clear it out. And from what I can tell from the synopsis, there is an awful lot of stuff that they need to clear out. So might be some sort of hoarder situation. That's what I'm getting from the synopsis. Again, I haven't read it yet, so who knows? But there are ghosts that are stuck in this house and for some reason can't get out. There are 2 ghosts, Alice and Sandra. And they are stuck in this house. I don't know why. Because I haven't read the book yet. So once I read it, hopefully I can tell you more about why they are stuck. But that's really all that the synopsis tells us, is that Richard Walker has died. His family has come back to clear it out. There's 2 ghosts. And it sounds like that the son of Richard Walker can start to communicate with the ghosts. And that's all that the synopsis tells us. I am using this for the Haddonfield prompt of Halloween colors on the cover because orange and black, in my mind, are Halloween colors. So that is the prompt that I'm using this for Team Haddonfield. It's a short one, so it's not going to take me very long. I think it's just 300 pages. Yeah, 303. So this is not going to take long. So I will come back to you very shortly with my thoughts. Hi everyone, so I just finished Rooms by Lauren Oliver. This book was weird. This was so weird. This was not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be spoopy. I don't know why I was expecting that not to be spooky, but like more like lighthearted ghosts. It was not that. It wasn't scary. It was just really weird. It was really weird. So this follows, I said in the earlier part, Richard Walker has died. His family has come home to his house to like pack up all of his things and to have his memorial service. It's his ex-wife and his 2 children. While they're all in this house, some family past drama is unpacked. Some secrets are revealed. There are also 2 ghosts that live in this house. So I thought they lived in the house, and I was kind of confused why they couldn't get out of the house because it kind of says on the back that they're stuck, and I was confused why. But they actually don't live in the house. They're like a part of the house. They're like in the walls of the house. So they could see everything happening in the house because they were basically the essence of the house, these 2 ghosts. It's very weird. They are each connected to the house's history in some way, and have witnessed a lot of this family drama over the years that had happened in the house because they were obviously in the walls of the house the entire time. It was weird. It was weird. I don't know if it was weird in a good way or in a bad way. It was just weird. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I was confused till the end. I was like, where are we going? I didn't know where we were going. And then in the end, it kind of made sense where we were going. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It was a ride. That's all I have. It was a ride. There's a lot of things I would like to talk about, but they are all spoilers for this book, so we're just gonna put it down. But the ending is weird. The whole book is weird, but it's a weird book. But I did like it. 3 stars. And we are on to the last prompt for the Haddonfield team prompts, which is the last book for this vlog, and that is to pick a book in the dark. Obviously, that is impossible to do on camera because I can't film in the dark. You wouldn't see it. Well, I could, but you couldn't see anything. So I made a spinner wheel of 3 books I wanted to read or needed to read, and 3 books that I'm not as excited to read, and I put them in a spinner wheel. So I'm gonna spin the wheel right here and show you what it landed on, and I was very excited that it landed on A History of Wild Places by Shane Earnshaw. I read Winterwood last year, loved it. It was in one of my top 5 books of the year. I loved Winterwood. It's the only Shane Earnshaw book that I have read. I'm very excited to read more. This one is also a host pick for Halloween, so I'm going to be using it for both readathons. And I'm very excited. I don't have a physical copy of it, obviously, that I own, so I grabbed it from the library, and I cannot wait. Shane Earnshaw in Winterwood, and I've heard very much the same with this from Michelle, who put it as her host fave for Halloween, writes atmosphere like you cannot believe. So I'm excited to see for myself if that is the case with A History of Wild Places, just like it was in Winterwood. I have an arc of Shane Earnshaw's most recent book, and I can't wait to read that soon, but I'm gonna read this one first. So this, from what I can tell and what I have heard, is like a cult book, which I'm very excited about. So it follows Travis Wren, and he has the ability to find people. He only needs like 1 object, and he has the uncanny ability of finding missing people. He is brought onto the case of Maggie St. James, who is an author, a children's book, horror children's book author, who has gone missing. And it leads him to something called the Pastoral, which I believe is some sort of cult. That is all I really want to know about this book, because I don't want to be spoiled for anything. But basically, cult book and missing people. I'm excited. This is very much a 5-star prediction for me, just because of how much I loved Winterwood. So the fact that this came up on my wheel spin is just the best news ever. So let's get reading this. I'm very excited. I stayed up way too late last night finishing The History of Wild Places, but there was no way on this earth I was putting this book down until I finished it. But I am going to put it down while I talk about it because it gets a little shiny in the lighting because it's a library book. So I adored this book. It was so captivating. The atmosphere was so intriguing. Again, I knew I loved Shane Earnshaw's writing style, so that did not come as a shock to me. But just, I could not stop reading this until I finished it. There was just no way. I even guessed kind of the main twist. I didn't know how it could be a twist and how it worked, but I guessed what it was. And that did not take away from my enjoyment of this book at all. Normally that would, but it didn't, because I just loved the atmosphere and the writing. And even though I kind of figured out what the twist would be, I didn't know how it would work and all the specifics. And I was interested to see, A, was I right? And when I was right, I was still captivated. And 2, how that all worked out. So if you haven't guessed, the last book for the Team Haddonfield vlog is a 5-star book. 5 stars. I loved this book. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting from the synopsis, although when I went and reread the synopsis, I did realize it did kind of tell us this information and I had just missed it. So Travis is searching for Maggie. He has a way of finding people. It's kind of like a magical thing where if he holds like objects, that they owned. He can see their memories and like where they went, kind of thing. So he's been hired by Maggie St. James's family. She's been missing for 5 years, to go find her. He stumbles upon this place called the Pastoral, which is somewhat of a cult type situation. This all happens in the first chapter. The first chapter is very long. After that, they're short chapters, but the first chapter is quite chunky. And then the second chapter, it's 2 years later, and Travis has even gone missing. So Maggie's gone missing, Travis has gone missing, and now we are in the town of Pastoral, this cult area in the woods. And we are following 3 members of this community, and we are discovering why this community was formed. We're trying to figure out what happened to Travis and Maggie, and it's just such a beautifully written story. I was intrigued the entire way through. Again, the atmosphere top tier, the character work top tier. I did guess the twist and I didn't care. So that's my last book for this vlog. I have finished Camp Crystal Lake and all of my team prompts. I've also stolen a few team prompts over with some of the other themed vlogs that I've been putting out this month. So I've had such a great time with this readathon. Thank you, Barb from Barb's Book Lens, and all of the team hosts. I'll tag everybody down below for having this readathon. It has been such a great time. I've had a great time with it. And that's it for this vlog. So I'm just gonna say goodbye here. Thanks for watching this far. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.